Welcome to The Growth Show with me as your host, Joe Camerato. I am an entrepreneur who created my company, National Business Capital, from literally $0 out of my spare bedroom to over $2 billion in business loans secured for entrepreneurs nationwide. Since 2007, I have seen just about every type of business. I provide money and help entrepreneurs access capital to scale fast, but I also know that it's possible for you as you scale to replace yourself, to build systems, processes, and great teams of people that can live on without you so you can actually enjoy your life and your company can still grow. I will not only tell you the peaks and valleys of my story, but I will also bring on world-class entrepreneurs to tell their stories and share their lessons on their growth journeys. Welcome to The Growth Show. All right, welcome to The Growth Show with me as your host, Joe Camerato. Today I have a special guest, Mike Carioscia from Hardcore Italians. Special guest because I'm Italian and your show is all about Italians, and I love all the content, everything you guys got going on, the culture that you're building, and keeping the Italian-American dreams alive. So thank you for being on the show today. And more importantly, you know, what's really cool about you, Mike, is like the story. And I never really fully understood the story until recently, you know, about how you guys got started. And so just excited to have you on. I appreciate you being on the show. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the compliments towards the page and the mission and everything like that. And, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I love the MBIFI, made for Italians, made by Italians for Italians. I think that's great and awesome. And I know my Nona, if she was still here, she'd be really proud of everything that you guys got going on. And some of those videos, you know, when it really makes me laugh because it reminds me of her. So really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we're all about. We're just trying to bring back the memories, from our grandparents and just keep it going, that's what we're all about. So thanks, man. I'm glad that's bringing that to you,
Yeah. My grandma Mary was a tough woman, so she would have been a great character on. We would have definitely had some videos for your page if she was still around.
Would have went viral type of dude.
Oh, definitely, 100%. She was a tough cookie, no BS, and she definitely would hit you with a wooden spoon.
Love it. Italian grandparents for you.
Yeah, you gotta love that, man. Mm-hmm. So yeah, why don't you kind of share like your story? I mean, you've got millions of followers across all of your channels now, but why don't you tell us a story about how it started? And your dad started this, a while back. But why don't you let us know, like, how'd you get started? How'd your dad get started?
Yeah, so my dad, just his entire life, his motto was just like this hardcore mentality of, everything you do, like do it like hardcore. Like don't be, if you're a janitor, be the best janitor that there ever was. If you're like, that was just his mentality. And growing up, I was interested in baseball and he was my coach. So he just started taking that mentality into baseball, into sports. And, there was no slack with me or anybody on my team. We played hardcore. We played to win. We don't play to lose. So, we're the type of people, if you get on first base, he literally says in front of everybody, he says, I want you on third in 2 pitches. He doesn't care if the pitcher hears it. He doesn't care who hears it. Like that just was his mentality. So, he, as the coach of the team, it was his responsibility to start doing uniforms and stuff like that. And he just kind of always had an eye for that kind of stuff. And he started making our uniforms. And then eventually he got a relationship with silk screeners, and he always had design ideas and stuff. And he just kind of expanded on that, and he was making designs that said hardcore on it. He made one that said hardcore Cubs fan and stuff like that, just for fun. And then eventually people liked it. People were catching on. They just liked the logos. They liked the designs. And then, him just being such a proud Italian, one of those designs he made was Hardcore Italians. And then that design just really took, in Chicago here, there's like, he grew up on Taylor Street. So it's such an Italian American neighborhood at the time. And, all of his friends and family friends are all Italian. So when he put out that design, like that one, you could tell was different. Everyone was saying like, oh, I got to get that one. And then he was making more and he was kind of selling them. And from there, it just kind of started growing, because his friends would say like, oh, I wore the shirt and now my friend in, this state wants one. And then, you know, he was figuring out eBay and he had the social media set up and all that stuff. But, you know, obviously me being younger, I was kind of more of, you know, social media oriented. I was going to, you know, I eventually went to business school and stuff like that. So I started learning more about social media and creating websites. And then, you know, once we started noticing the hardcore Italians thing was taking off, you know, we kind of just agreed that let's be 50-50 partners. And what, you know, what shows a lot about him to come to your son who's like 17 at the time and says, you want to be 50% partners with me in a business. So I did it. I helped with the social media and I just kind of wrote it out with them. You know, it's been 11 years in business now.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that's kind of how it got started. And, you know, just kind of to touch on the hardcore Italian part of it, and just like the passion for that. Like I said, my dad he's always been proud to be Italian. And like I said, with the hardcore mentality, like everything you do, like love it. So we just always appreciated our Italian background, our roots. Like it was just something that we really were passionate about. I remember when I was a kid, every day I would wear a new Italian shirt to school because I wanted everybody to know I was Italian.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, it is. That's it. You're just proud from day one. And, you know, just as I got older, I just really started appreciating too more and more what my grandparents have done for me and just what they stood for. And I just believe like all my values as a person today and just my perspective on things and just I owe them everything, you know. So it really started resonating with me more how important that is. And so, you know, when I graduated college and I was starting to figure out what did I want to do for a living, I tried dabbling with a couple other jobs and I realized like, you know what, I'm passionate about this mission with hardcore and I'm going to take a shot at it. And if it works, great. If not, I'm still young. I could afford, you know, some time to recover or whatever. So I took a shot and then,
Yeah.
you know, been spend my living ever since like 2017. And you know, no looking back. It's, you know, no backup plan, no nothing. This is it. So I love what I do every day. It's stressful a lot of times, but I think in the end goal, you know, when a mission's worth it, it doesn't matter. Like you're gonna do it, and you know, I think that's what it took for me to really, you know, keep it growing all these years. So
It's good stuff. And there's never been a black backup plan for me. You either go all in or you just half-ass it. And I'm not someone to half-ass it. So you got to go all in. And, you know, without taking risks, you know, nothing will change. And you know, great things happen from taking big risks. And, you know, I think too, and a lot of respect, I hear everything you're saying. I think, you know, I think about this all the time and it's all perspective because, you know, it is all hard work. And I think if you're growing and you're making things happen, like it never is easy. And I've never met a business owner that was like, oh, yeah, I started this business and it's just been so easy. Right. Especially that first 5 to 7 years, it's such a hustle. It's such a grind. You're figuring things out, processes, systems, people, you know, product, you know, like what's going to work, what's not going to work, marketing. I mean, you gotta be a jack of all trades in a sense in the beginning and then really work to put the right folks in place. Um, but putting all that in perspective, and I was sharing with you before, you know, it's amazing. You know, I think my grandmother came here around like 1915 on a boat from Italy through Ellis Island, and you know, they worked so hard, you know, and my grandmother worked in a factory, and my grandfather like helped make the projectors, and then my other grandparents grew up in the Bronx and were really poor. And, you know, like the how hard they worked. And in that time too, like my, you know, grandmother lived through the Great Depression, you know, 1920, 29, like those the 20s and 30s. I mean, you know, I just think about how much the world has changed since then. And, you know, I think you know, I think I was saying, the challenges that we have today are luxury challenges. Like we
yeah,
live in a great country and at every level, like, you know, some people have more money than others, right? And I get that. But you know, it's not everyone's killing it and crushing it. But the reality is, like, a lot of our problems today are very, you know, are luxury problems. And I think in business we get so beat up because we're trying to grow more and do more and make more. And
hmm
it's like, oh wow, like we're stressed out because like all we want, it's because we want more, and it's like a want. It's not really a need.
yeah,
And I think about that a lot, especially when I'm getting stressed and trying to push myself to that next level. I think about that, and I tell you, like, you know, for me, with my grandparents coming here, you know, and working their asses off when they did to, make a good life for my parents and then them making a life for us. I just, knowing how hard they work, like my grandmother used to tell me a story of how there was times where her and her siblings would share like a loaf of bread for like the week and they would take a piece off. Like, and that's just like, that's never going to happen to my kids today, no matter like how bad it got, like that's not going to happen. And, so, to me, I feel like if I'm not working hard and pushing myself, I'm like disrespecting them for all the hard work that they did. And that helps really drive and motivate me. And I actually think about it all the time. So when I watch some of the stuff in your channel and, some of it's funny, but, stuff with your grandparents and, it definitely brings me back. And I really appreciate, all the things that you guys are doing and love that there's such a cool backstory that's driving and motivating you.
Yeah, and you kind of hit the mission, like the nail on the head with the mission. That's exactly what we're about. Like, we really want people to just remember that every day. And, when our grandparents pass away and that kind of thing, it's not like you said, your kids are, the next generation. How are they going to know the struggles of our grandparents? And I think knowing their struggles and knowing what they've been through and knowing how, like you said, we have luxury problems. And, my team and myself, we always say the same thing to each other. Like sometimes we're like, complain about something, and then we're like, we'll sit and stop and we'll say, we're complaining about how well a meme did. Like, this is not a we're like, all right, we got to go on a boat. We don't even know like where we're going. We may die. We're going to a new country. We don't know what's even on the other side. And then like coming here working hard and just like working hard for nothing. Like, my grandparents were like factory workers too. I mean, they didn't make any money. They worked so hard.
Yep.
And the one thing I want to touch on what you said is they never complained once. They never complained. They didn't have anything. Whatever they had, they would give to their family. Their life was extremely tough. They dealt with way worse problems than we're dealing with today, and they never complained once. So that's something I think about daily. And, sometimes, everyone has days where it might be tough to go and to work and whatever, you're having a rough day, rough time. I just think if you put your life into perspective through them and, put, through their lens, like you said, it's just gives you like motivation. It gives you a better perspective. And, I personally feel too, that if I didn't do anything with the opportunity I was given, like it is disrespectful to them. Like they did it all for their family. That's why they did it. They didn't, like they sacrificed their lives for you. My grandparents, so that they died, they didn't have money. They didn't have any luxuries. They didn't have any of that. Like they, if they had $20 to their name, they were handing it to me when I walked in the door.
Yep.
When I
and they couldn't be happier to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now it's like, people just aren't that way anymore. It's a lot of that mentality's forgotten. It's just a different world that we're growing up in now that they had. And I just think like, not that the newer generation has to learn the lessons, but if we all have perspective about what, where we came from and our background and our roots, that's what's important at the end of the day. And that's what we're about with the brand. So
100%. And I love it. I respect it, appreciate it. I think my grandmother finally got on a plane when she was like 80 or 85 years old, went to Florida for the first time. I mean, it's just crazy. And, I think it's important too, to get outside of the US, and I'm, my kids are young, but as they get older, I'm going to get outside because there's other places that aren't as fortunate as we are. And I think just kind of seeing we're in a little bit of a bubble, especially when you live, in like a place like, you guys are in Chicago, we're in New York, you're like in a bubble, you know what I mean? And it's good to get out of that bubble and see what's going on in the rest of the world. But, it's true. It's good stuff. And definitely, appreciate that, we share those same, values and put those things in perspective. What do you think, the keys were? I mean, you built this amazing following. What were some of the keys to your success in building, your social media presence and really getting that going? And what year did you start doing that?
So, I mean, I think the Facebook page was started in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't really end up doing this as a full-time thing since 2017. I think what it was for us is it was just like, we would do it for free, like we just enjoyed posting about being Italian and we just loved it. We always, like I said, I wore an Italian shirt to school every day. So like, it was fun to put out Italian shirts. And as far as the social media, like we were just posting all the time. I was thinking of jokes and just posting it. And it just started, I remember like after 2 years, I was like, oh my God, we got 5,000 followers,
Yeah.
Now it's like if you don't get 5,000 followers in the first week of TikTok, you're upset now. But like I think like if people kind of had the mentality of, just give it time to grow. I think there's two ways to grow. One is obviously investing. Like if you have financial risk, or you could just risk your time. There's sweat equity
Yeah.
too. So I believe the sweat equity part was huge for us in the beginning. Just putting in the posts and just, really giving it time to breathe. And that is what I would say is our biggest thing. And I was kind of the person too, when I was in college, I'd be in the class. I mean, my grades were terrible, but I would be in class in the back and I'd be making posts for hardcore while the teacher's saying whatever they were saying. I was
Something that wasn't useful.
exactly. Now Chat GPT or whatever will tell you everything they told you, but
Yeah, exactly. Done. You can go to school in a week.
yeah, exactly. But that was me, man. I was investing my sweat equity into the business all these years, and then I think, we saved up. It's not like I was like, hey, I made $20. Let me spend it on XYZ. Like we had it saved in a bank account, and we didn't take a dime for years. And I think we first started taking money between 2011 and 2017. It was like, okay, let's try to take this money we save now and do something with it. And
Nice.
I think then that's when the financial investment started to come into play. And by then I was confident in the business enough to like really know that it could be something. But again, it is a risk. So I was willing to take the risk, but I think that's kind of
100%.
what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I think most people don't realize how long it takes to get something really going. And it really is that 5 to 7 years. Then you got to put processes and systems in place and people and in order to grow. And it's not easy, and it does take time. It's pretty cool that you've been able to continue to reinvest and grow this thing. What's been some of the biggest challenges, as you grow?
So I would say our Christmases, inventory is pretty much the biggest challenge. It's just always a monster to deal with. I feel like no matter what, you can't do it right, because a lot of companies, they drop ship and stuff, and it's just like, okay, you sold something and now here's the money for it, and they pay. And we just took a different approach from the very beginning. We have a different mentality about our shirts and the quality and just how quickly people get it. And we make stuff to stock, so we're investing before the sale. And it's always an animal, because you do a lot of different SKUs per shirt. And it's like we started doing small through 2X, and then we're getting people we need 3X, and we're getting people we need 4X, and we're getting people we need 5X. Like it's more SKUs, more of an investment. And then you got to invest in the right seasons, you got to invest in the right time. And I would say a lot of that is just really getting it right, getting down where to put the money, where to put the money in which product at the time that's going to give the best payout. I think that's always a struggle. And then Christmas too, it's always like just crazy. Everyone needs gifts for Christmas. So we've always been trying to figure
Yeah.
out, like, how do we order properly for Christmas? We do it like way in advance, and then money sitting on the racks a little bit longer? Or do we do it like right up into it, and then like maybe you get a little bit more money because you're selling the product beforehand? So it's always just kind of balancing that. It's a tough task, I'd say. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, managing, inventory in any business. I mean, we have this conversation constantly with business owners. In my business, we help owners get funding, and it's a constant, balancing act with, having enough inventory versus having too much, and then the holidays trying to predict in time. It's definitely not an easy thing, for sure. So you're definitely not alone in that. And I think, as you grow and have more information and data, you can try and predict it a little bit, but you just can't, you also can't predict things that, just getting, all of a sudden, a huge order, or a post that takes off. The next thing you know, your orders go through the roof. So I guess in a way it's a good problem, but it's definitely, I don't know if there's a real right answer to it. Unless you could have like machines on hand that are like robots. So when someone orders, you just print it and ship it. But I think, I mean, I think we got some time, for that. So, uh, what's like some of your best selling products, like what's like a big area of focus, for you guys?
So we have an Italian track jacket that's always been probably since we first put it out. I mean, that's been our best seller every year is the track jacket. People love those. And then just, the shirts obviously are one of the main things. I think it depends, a lot of people like new stuff. Like we have a lot of people that have been following us for years, so they just like to see new things. So it kind of depends. This past year we had a design with the Italian American flag combined in one. Like that was probably our best seller this past year. In the other past we had that gnocchi shirt that did really well.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good one. It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And then last summer too, we did Italy like slides. People love those. Like we didn't order enough of those. So there's always products kind of in and out and moving, but there's a few sellers we always keep for sure, the jackets and the popular t-shirts, and then we kind of just see from there. If it gets stale, maybe we'll sell it out and then try something new. But if it's selling well, we'll restock it, and we kind of just try to make the best decisions for what people are requesting, because you could put in a request on the site if something's sold out. If you want it, you get on a wait list. So we'll take a look
Yep.
at that. We'll take a look at seasons. We're probably going to start, it's St. Patrick's Day coming up. We're probably going to start making designs for that, like funny designs out of that. So it depends month to month, but overall I'd say, there's a few shirts that really are classics, and then there's the jackets that people really love too. So
Nice. And then what, I saw that they have like your shirt club, how's that going? And like, it seems like that's like a really cool thing where someone can just sign up basically and just get like a shirt delivered every month, or how does that work?
yeah, exactly. So that's something new we recently implemented. It was like, I think late last year we implemented. So I'm still learning the ins and outs of it a bit. But yeah, you get a new Italian t-shirt exclusive to your month or to your door every month. So it's Italian t-shirts that you can't get unless you're in the club. So you have to be signed up to get it. And then there's other benefits too.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there's other benefits too. Like if you're on it, you get free shipping to any other order on the site. You get, we do a monthly giveaway where we're just giving away products. Some are up to $100 and things like that. We're trying to, as it grows too, we're hoping to do more fun things like give away trips or something like crazier prizes. But I think it's good. It helps the business a lot because it's given us predictability with, our expenses and things like that. So it's helpful. And then it's a win-win for the customer too, because they could skip any time if they want. And also, they're getting designs no one else has. So there's always that like bragging rights thing when you have something else no one could get.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
great. I love, the reoccurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the reoccurring model is awesome, and definitely with predictability, and and it's great. You can kind of create a nice base and grow in that, and it's cool for your followers that they get this stuff that no one else has access to, which I think is really cool. I didn't even realize that. So very cool. I might have to get signed up
Yeah.
and maybe you can send me a special one that nobody else has.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, if you're like me, like when I was in school, I wanted to wear an Italian shirt every day. I wanted everyone to know I was Italian. So it's like, if you're someone like, me, like that's all I wear to work too. Like, I don't know. So it's just perfect. You always got something new to bust out, and everyone knows you're Italian. It's always the thing about our shirts too, is every shirt gets a reaction. You can't wear it without somebody saying something. And it's always like they're conversation starters. So
That's great. That's cool. I love it, especially if you're in Chicago and New York.
yeah, exactly. Those are definitely some of our biggest areas for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely not surprised with that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess two last questions. What would be some advice, Mike, that you would give, to others, whether it's starting a business or or whether it's on online social media, building a brand, content, because you've built an amazing brand, you're building content, and what advice would you have for others out there, trying to do something?
Yeah, I mean, my first advice would be, pick something you're passionate about. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're passionate about it, because that's how you're gonna continue to do it. So that'll be my biggest thing. And then two, just give it time. If you're passionate about it and you give it enough time, it's gonna pay off in the long run. If like I said before, if you would do it for free, I think that's when you really know you got something good, because it's like if you're just constantly working on it and growing, like it'll come eventually. And then I think as far as, when you're ready to take investments or you're ready to kind of do it, have a good system where it's just putting fuel on the fire. I would say it's risky no matter what you do. So when you do take that risk, make it to where, like if I just 10X exactly what I'm doing now, it's gonna pay off more so than like if I take money and then I hire this guy, hire that guy, and then do this, and that, then I'm hoping it pays off. I would say, put fuel on the fire and be careful with every dollar you spend.
No, it's great advice. Take calculated risks,
Yeah.
and we were talking about this earlier. I mean, we're really all running hedge funds if you own a business. A lot of people don't think about it like that. And what I mean by that is, we're all taking money and, investing in our businesses, and we're putting that money to work in order to get a return. I mean, it really is that simple. And the better return that you get with your money, the more revenue you make, the more profit you make, and most likely the more you can grow. So I think a lot of people don't think about it like that, and business just happens and you just start going like with the wind. And I think, I found over the years, like taking the time, and especially with me and my team, pausing, we just did a 2-day offsite. We took 2 days out of the office to like plan. And it's amazing when you like pause for a second and like focus, like the things that kind of come up to the surface that you're not even thinking about or realize. And then you can focus on, those right areas. So it's super important if you look at your business like that.
Yeah, agreed. And we just did a similar thing. It's a new year, so we all just took like a week off after Christmas and just refocused. And yeah, you gotta have plans. You gotta think things through. You gotta have budgets. You don't want to react to your business. You want to, you know what I mean. You want to be in charge of it. So, otherwise,
100%.
yeah. Otherwise, I agree. It could get out of your hands, and you got to take it seriously for sure.
Yeah, it's business is no light game, that's for sure. And yeah, so true. Good stuff. So, as you move forward, like what's getting you out of bed? What are you most excited about, for you, in your biz, and where are you going to be focusing on, your areas of growth?
I'm just excited mainly about, just getting better systems in place every year just for the shirts and what we're doing here. Like we're trying to make this like where there's, a bigger company where more people have full-time jobs with us. I'm really excited too to kind of involve more ambassadors and content creators with us this year. I feel like with TikTok and just now Instagram as Reels and YouTube as Shorts and things like that, we're noticing a lot more people in the community are posting and proud. So we're happy to like just kind of work with more creators and just kind of double down on what we're doing, I'd say. And then, long term, we definitely have other plans to maybe do more fun stuff and expand into some other areas. But right now it's really just trying to continue to grow what we do. There's a lot of Italian Americans. There's 30 million Italian Americans. And, if we have 1 million on our page, we feel like we're not hitting up the percentage we want to be,
Yeah.
We're just motivated to keep, we want every Italian to be proud, and we want every Italian to have that perspective. And, we're even looking forward to teaching the current Italians on our page a little bit more about some of the words and some of the, just we notice a lot of the younger Italian Americans, rightfully so, like they don't know some of the things. Like we want to educate people. We want to, it's more than just shirts to us. It's more than just shirts. It's just about the whole, everything, the perspective, and just, the roots and our culture is beautiful. Just teaching people and making people proud. And we're happy to just continue it,
Good stuff. Well, I definitely appreciate everything that you guys are doing. It's really good stuff. Go check out Mike. You can go to hardcoreitalians.com. Definitely check out, his Instagram, Facebook page and YouTube. But how else can anything I missed there, Mike, or how else can folks, find you, follow you, and keep up to date with everything you guys got going on?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Hardcoreitalians.com is our biggest one. I would say sign up for our email list or SMS list. You're getting, the first updates there all the time. And then pretty much every social media platform, like you said, we're on. So our main, we probably focus on is, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So definitely follow us there if you're, if you favor one of those, but we're everywhere. So.
Awesome, man. Well, good stuff. Definitely make sure that you follow Mike. Go buy a T-shirt, get involved, and represent. And thanks for being on the show today, Mike. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep representing for Italians, and more importantly, keep growing.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you soon. Be well. Ciao.
Appreciate it, Joe. Ciao.